Sheila Gunn, Reid for Rebel News. I'm here in Calgary at the Conservative Party Convention, the largest Conservative Party convention to date. I'm here with Conservative MP and immigration critic Michelle Rempel Garner. Michelle, I wanted to talk to you about the complete and absolute destruction of the immigration system under the Liberals in the last 10 years, but really since Justin Trudeau's Welcome to Canada tweet. Even just this week, new information has come out about the abuse of the temporary foreign workers themselves, not just the system, but the workers themselves. 10,000 complaints in 6 months and only 200 or so investigated. It's not just, employers abusing the system so that, young Canadians are underemployed, but the temporary foreign workers themselves are being exploited.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. It's exciting to be here. Great backdrop, too.
Yeah.
So, the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. When we announced earlier this fall that the Conservative Party's position is to abolish the Temporary Foreign Workers Program, one of the key points that we included in there was because, and it's not just us as the Conservative Party saying this, the United Nations talked about this program being akin to slavery, and that's because essentially what happens is, especially in the low-skilled worker streams, you see employers bringing these temporary foreign workers to Canada, but they're tied to that employer. So it's been rife with abuse. This is why when we were actually in government, I think it was 2013, we made major reforms to the program because the abuse was rampant back then. Justin Trudeau reversed all of those reforms. Fast forward to today, rampant abuse, and then also I think you made a very good point too. Employers have abused this program also in a way to depress wages. And with a 20% youth unemployment rate across this country, I haven't heard an argument yet from a lot of these lobby groups who want to keep the program, obviously, that it somehow benefits Canadian youth. I think what we need to be doing more is saying, no, this doesn't work. We need to train Canadian youth, make sure that they have first crack at those opportunities, and otherwise the abuse and that wage depression is only going to continue to grow over the years.
And I think there's a knock-on effect for the economy at large, right? When you have an entire generation of people who don't know how to work.
Yeah, and what was your first job? Mine was an ice cream shop in Winnipeg.
Bingo hall, coffee cart.
There we go. So you learn how to show up for work on time, basic customer service skills. These are skills.
Smoking. It was a bingo hall.
So you learn basic skills, and that's part of the contract of Canada, right? Mm-hmm. Employers get to work in and thrive in a free market economy, and train Canadian youth who then become the next generation of leaders and our society. So I think that, to your point, somehow that's gotten erased, because I hear this from lobby groups like, well, I just can't train somebody. It's like, I don't think you've tried.
Right.
And if you continue to have an endless supply of temporary foreign labor that's essentially indentured to an employer, there is no incentive to train or even to look at productivity increases as well too. So this is a no-brainer, and I think the Liberals, the fact that they haven't moved on this at all, I think it just shows that they don't know which lane to pick, and of course the Liberals are always going to pick a lane that's not Canadian youth, Canadian jobs.
And the entire system is rife with abuse. An order paper earlier this week came back that you were telling me about that shows this stream of asylum seekers. It's not refugees, conventional refugees from horrible places of the world. It's people who are coming here under one pretense and then switching lanes once they get here.
Yeah, so we've been so busy with the convention this week. I meant to reach out to you, but we did. We got an order paper question back earlier this week, and I had asked the government essentially who was making asylum claims. Because just to be clear, in December, the amount of asylum claims hit a record level. There's 300,000 pending asylum claims, right now. Many of those won't be heard for sometimes up to a decade. Mm-hmm. So problems. But what that order paper question showed was, like, how did somebody enter the country and then make an asylum claim? And a huge spike in the last year of people who entered the country as foreign students, likely have expiring visas, and are now making asylum claims. And that's abuse of the asylum system, right? I refer to what happened between 2022 and 2024, please feel free to plagiarize this term, as the Fraser wave of foreign students. This is when Sean Fraser permitted, I think it was, close to 1 million, more than that.
Yeah.
And you saw, and again, it's not these kids' fault for wanting to come to Canada, but, you see things like Conestoga College, where the city that the college is located in, it's like a population of roughly 100,000. They brought in 30,000 kids in a year and a half. And so now, and the Liberals did it with a wink and a nod, like, you can stay, but temporary has to mean temporary. There are now, at this moment, according to recent reports, 2.1 million people in Canada who are here with expired or expiring visas. They don't actually even know how many. And so the question becomes this. It's
twice the population of Saskatchewan.
Think about that. So now, but on top of that, they've set new levels at a rate that assumes that many of those folks will voluntarily leave. So there's a lot of work left to do for us as opposition to hold the Liberals to account, but also to propose ways to solve these problems. And that's what we've been doing as a team all fall. A huge heavy lift, amending bills, proposing major policy changes like the abolishment of the TFW program, changing the rules around passing on citizenship to descendants of people who are here just as temporary visas.
Right.
We want to see parents have at least PR status, at least one parent have PR status, like every other country in the world, virtually. I could talk to you for hours about the changes we've proposed, but I think that the changes that we've proposed would restore order. But I mean, then there's also the question of the Fraser wave, right?
Right.
What are we going to do about that question? Like,
right. And it's been a series of inept ministers who don't really know the file,
and also not giving political imperatives and direction to their bureaucrats. I think there was Blacklock's reported this week that the government spent over $250,000 just training their bureaucrats. I think it was mostly me on how to deal with me at committee, and it's like, well, instead of spending that, why don't you just do your job? And you have to have that. You have to both have a plan and an imperative, and move, the public service and policymakers and stuff to say, like, look, Canada can be an open and welcoming country, but you can't bring in so many people that housing, healthcare, jobs, other things, social infrastructure can't keep up, and that's clearly what happened. And nobody benefits from that. No newcomer or Canadian citizen alike.
So I'm going to ask you to speculate as my last question. Why are they doing this?
You're asking me to get in the mind of
and then get right back out.
I think it's a variety of things. First of all, let's go back to the one of the first changes Trudeau made back in 2015, the reversal of former Minister Jason Kenney's reforms of the TFW program. Yep. That was clearly in response to lobbies that were asking for endless supply of foreign labor so that they could increase their profits on the backs of essentially indentured labor. I think that's part of it. I think that they were heavily lobbied by these diploma mills and provincial colleges that wanted an easy supply of revenue. And then, there's with the hashtag Welcome to Canada tweet, I think it was a way to sort of poke the American administration in the eye, and not really thinking about, obviously, the logistics or what that would mean for integration or, and by that I mean like housing, jobs. So I'm not sure, I never try to ascribe ascribe one motive to the Liberals for incompetence and just like,
Fair enough.
That's what I've seen. I've been immigration critic.
It's not
on and
always
off.
malice, yeah.
But you
Sometimes
shouldn't dismiss malice either. But the bottom line is it doesn't matter. What matters now is that the Liberal government has to implement conservative proposals to restore order and fairness. I've literally given them everything they need to do, like an entire roadmap. We amended their bills to make sure that they couldn't do sneaky things like Bill C-12. It's this bill that had a suite of some immigration reforms. They wanted to give more powers to their bureaucrats. On the surface, it looked like, okay, well, maybe they could cancel applications, but I'm like, maybe they could also change status from temporary to PR. So we did all of these amendments to make sure that wouldn't happen, but man, there's a lot of work left to do. But that's my job, working on it.
Yes. Michelle, thanks so much for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thanks for covering our convention. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Immigration is just one of the many issues that the Liberal government is failing on. To see more of our coverage from here on the ground inside of the Conservative Party convention, please go to rebelnews.com.